program are not those of intellectualradio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and our topic for today is Breast Cancer Survivorship Misconceptions. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive at 5 with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, Rosal and I talked about breast cancer awareness. Are we winning the battle? Head on over to YouTube and type in Intellectual Radio and stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. Our quote of the day is, your life is a story. Write well, edit often. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control the way you handle it. Here is your trending topic for today. According to CNN, pharmacy staffs at some Walgreens stores locked their gates and walked out today, citing harsh working conditions that make it difficult to safely fill prescriptions. CNN confirmed pharmacy closures at some Walgreens locations in Arizona, Washington, Massachusetts, and Oregon. And pharmacy staffs and customers are posting to social media that other closures are taking place throughout the country. Many pharmacies that are open are severely understaffed, and a majority of their employees called out today. Some stores said they were able to operate only through the drive-through pharmacy, and others are closing early due to lack of staff. Walgreens told CNN in a statement that a small number of our pharmacies are experiencing disruptions, that is, and apologize for any inconvenience that it may cause. A Walgreens representative said today that companies understand that the immense pressures felt across the U.S. in retail pharmacies right now, that they are engaged in listening to the concerns raised by their team members. So if you have any prescriptions that are in Walgreens pharmacies right now, they may not be getting fulfilled because they are short-staffed, and some of them had to close today. So that is your trending topic for today. If you are tuned in on any form of social media, please like the show, share the show, invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. We are so grateful for our sponsor on today. We have our loyal sponsor, which is Pastor Michael Richardson with the Emanuel Church of God in Christ, and they have a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emanuel COGIC at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emanuel COGIC-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson. And we're from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
Our topic today is breast cancer survivorship misconceptions. And this particular topic is so important today because as a survivor, there are so many misconceptions out there where individuals feel like we should be at a certain state or point in our lives. And if we're not there, then it's made to seem like we're a failure or we're not surviving like we should. So this information, my source is coming from Sidney Kimmel Comprehensive Cancer Center, and this is from their breast center program. So we're going to talk about some myths and facts as it relates to cancer survivorship. And my first one is eating soy produces after having hormone receptor positive breast cancer increases your chances of reoccurrence. So I know some breast cancer survivors try to stay away from soy because um, there's a saying out there that if you do eat it, that it contributes to you either getting breast cancer or helps to cause a reoccurrence in breast cancer. And the purpose of the show is to eliminate, dispel, debunk some of this information that's floating out there so that you can walk away with the correct information and you can feel empowered with that information. So this one, it says research on soy has been conflicting over the years. It has the capacity to mimic as well as block certain estrogens. Overall, natural dietary soy in the form of milk, soybeans, sprouts, and tofu appear to be safe and may provide significant health benefits when it's replaced with animal sources of milk and protein. However, soy in the concentrated forms, such as pills, powders, and supplements, have strong potential for estrogen activities and probably should be avoided. So, if you have been diagnosed with hormonal receptive breast cancer, then they're saying that soy should be avoided in those particular forms. So I try for me, and it's just a personal thing. Like I try to stay away from soy products. And even though I'm a vegan, like I still, people just assume since I say I don't eat meat, they go, oh, well, you want tofu? No, I don't want tofu. Like I don't even like the taste and the texture of tofu. And I try to stay away from as many soy products as I can. And it's just a personal thing for me. All right. So number 2. A myth or fact, it says, if I test positive for the BRCA1 or the BRCA2 gene mutation, I must have a bilateral mastectomy. And a bilateral mastectomy is having both of your breasts removed and all of the tissues in that area. So basically your chest where your breast used to be is just left hollow. And some people may get they may get a mastectomy on one side, just depends, and then they still have a breast on the other side. So, but if you have received a bilateral mastectomy, that means you have removed both breasts. So, is it true or is it false that if you test positive for the BRCA gene mutation, that you must have a bilateral mastectomy? Well, it says women with the BRCA1 gene mutation or the BRCA gene mutation, you have an increased risk. So when you test positive, it just means that you have an increased risk, and it also gives you the power to be proactive about your health. So an increased risk of having a breast cancer or having a second cancer, and many do choose to have bilateral mastectomies. So we have what we call previvors, and previvors are those who have not been diagnosed with a cancer, period, but they have test positive for the BRCA gene. And so their percentage of getting cancer is very high. It could be like 78% for breast cancer, 56% for ovarian cancer. So these women choose to get a double mastectomy or a bilateral mastectomy to prevent cancer from happening in the breast area. And then some women choose to get a hysterectomy to prevent ovarian cancer. So just because you test positive for the BRCA1 or the BRCA2 gene mutation, it does not mean that you have to have a bilateral mastectomy, but what it does mean is that you have an increased risk. So you have to be maybe screened more, or your doctor will put you on some type of program to try to figure out how they can best monitor you to prevent cancer. And for some, that does mean having a bilateral mastectomy. And for some, it just means increasing your doctor monitoring you. Number 3, fact or myth. My deodorant contributes to me getting breast cancer. And I've heard this a lot, and it can be pretty disturbing, especially when you have little girls that may be, needing deodorant and their body's starting to change. And then here you are, you're hearing all these things out here about deodorant causing breast cancer, and it's like you really don't want to give them anything. It's like you feel like you want to make your own deodorant and put your own stuff out there, and we just can't walk around without deodorant, although some people do, but that's just not my choice. So it says, this is completely false. No evidence, there's no evidence has been shown that deodorant causes cancer. Here's the truth. Research at the National Cancer Institute are not aware of any conclusive evidence linking the use of underarm antiperspirants or deodorants to breast cancer. But we do know that parabens and aluminum causes some type of disruptors with our hormone system. So don't purchase the deodorants that have the parabens or aluminum in it, just to be on the safe side. So I try to make sure when I go to the store and I'm getting deodorant for my girls or myself, I make sure that I get the kind that does not have the aluminum or parabens. Even like shampoo that may have parabens in it, because parabens is linked to causing cancer. So make sure that whatever type of products that you use, where you're putting on your body, where it can seep down into your system, make sure it doesn't have the parabens in it. Number 4, fact or myth. If I had a mastectomy, I cannot get a breast cancer recurrence. And again, we already talked about what a mastectomy was. So if you had a mastectomy, you cannot get a breast cancer recurrence. So if you had a mastectomy, the breast cancer may not come back in that area again, because they have removed all of the tissue, and you're left really with just like a hollow chest wall. So there's no chance for breast cancer to grow in that area. It says undergoing a bilateral mastectomy drastically reduces your chances of breast cancer recurrence, since almost all of your breast tissues have been removed. There is a very small chance that the residual breast cancer tissues or cancer cells can reoccur. It can reoccur on the chest walls. So it's no breast there, but you still have chest walls. And since cancer pretty much grows anywhere, it could grow on those chest walls. So you still have to make sure that you are vigilant about your health. You're paying attention to your chest, making sure that there's still no lumps, bumps, or anything growing in that area. And that when you are going to the doctor, that you're making sure you're having the proper exams. Number 5, fact or myth. It says, eventually I will be able to stop my mammograms. Myth or fact? It says, after a breast cancer diagnosis, yearly mammograms are still strongly suggested for the rest of your life, unless you have had a bilateral mastectomy. So, with the bilateral mastectomy, you don't need to have a mammogram because you don't have any breasts. But if you have had breast cancer, then you still need to get your mammogram every single year. I know that once you get over a certain age, as you get older, they may have you to come every 2 years or every 3 years as you get up in age, maybe like in your 70s. I know like with my mom, they have her go like every 3 years. But with my mom, she still goes every year. She's like, y'all gonna have me 3 years out. And then I come in here and y'all like, oh, you at a stage 4. Yeah, because y'all left me out there for 3 years. So, but you could be vigilant if they tell you, and you're an older woman, and they tell you, oh, just come every 3 years. No, when you're getting your annual exam, your doctor should be doing that clinical exam. You still should be doing your exams monthly at home. And then you can request to have a mammogram. Because things can develop within that year from your annual exam. Things happen. And the reason why they want you to do an exam annually is because the chances of them catching something early from 1 year to the next, it could be successful for them to catch it early. So if you're a woman and you're age 40, you know that you should be getting your mammograms. If you have a family history, ladies, of cancer in your family, whatever age that person was diagnosed with breast cancer, then you should be getting your mammograms 10 years earlier to the date that they were diagnosed. So I was diagnosed at 43. So at 33, my daughters should be getting their first mammogram. But I was talking to my oldest daughter, who's 25, and she just recently got her annual exam, and she said her doctor was talking to her after she was telling her the history of, cancer and breast cancer in my family, and how I took the BRCA test for the gene mutation, and mine came back negative. So the doctor was like, well, if you want to take the gene test to see if, you test positive for the BRCA1 or BRCA2, you can. Since your mom tests negative, 9 times out of 10, you probably are going to test negative as well. But if you want to take the test, you can. It's up to you. It'll just give you some information. So she was asking me, like, Ma, should I do it? Should I take the test? And I said, you could take it. It'll give you a peace of mind. And at least you know that you're doing some, preventive measures. You're being proactive about your health. All it is for some, they do like a counseling session first to see if you even need genetic testing. So you'll have the genetic counseling first. And then from that, the genetic counselor will determine if you need genetic testing. And then if you need genetic testing, it could be a swab in your mouth or it could be a blood test. And it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to come back to say yes or no, that you do or you don't have a hereditary link. So if you know the answer is no, then you share that with I shared it with my girls and my son because they're in my immediate family, so that they know that I'm not passing breast cancer on to them. So she's taking her own test to see if she tests positive for it, so that she know what to tell her kids. And that's a test where nobody's cutting on you. You're not, it's nothing invasive going on. It's either a swab through the mouth or a blood test. And everybody's not eligible to take it if the counselor doesn't feel that is necessary. But it's a way to be proactive about your health. Number 6, a myth or a fact. I should eat an organic diet to reduce my chances of a recurrence. This one right here is it could be kind of tricky because they tell us, one way to decrease your risk is to make sure that you're eating a healthy diet, right? So you figure like, if I'm eating a healthy diet, if I'm doing everything that they tell me to do, then, it should reduce my risk. It should, really minimize my risk if I'm putting the right foods in my body that would fight cancer, right? You would think so. So it says consuming a balanced diet full of fresh fruits and vegetables is always helpful to improving and maintaining your overall health. Whenever possible, it's a good idea to eat organic fruits, vegetables, and meats to limit your exposure to pesticides and hormones added to meats. However, there is no scientific proven link between consumption of non-organic foods and an increased risk in breast cancer. So this is just telling me that you just need to eat a healthy portion of fruits, vegetables, and meat in moderation. Because this is saying that organic would be a healthy solution or healthy option. But they're saying that if you do that, there's no scientific link that's going to decrease or eliminate your chances of getting breast cancer. Number 7, myth or fact. I had breast cancer in the past. Should I not become pregnant? So if you have breast cancer in the past, is there fear, or is there going to be some type of complications? Is my baby going to suffer, some type of ailments or anything or illnesses because I had cancer already and now I want to have a baby? And this one says pregnancy after early stage breast cancer. Keyword, early stage. And cancer has 5 stages. I know they think it's 4, but it's 5. So you have 0, then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So early stage would be 1, 0, 1, 2, borderline 2, depending on how big and what the grade is. So it says pregnancy after early stage breast cancer has not shown to impact breast cancer recurrence or survival. It is often recommended that you wait for some time after completing treatment before trying to get pregnant, since your body has been through a traumatic experience. And then talk to your doctor about the best time to get pregnant. And I know several women who have had beautiful, healthy babies after their cancer diagnosis. And I think it depends on having a conversation with your doctor before you go into treatment to talk about the type of treatment that you're going to receive and to make sure that that treatment is not going to hinder you or stop you from, or stop you from having any type of fertility issues if you try to get pregnant. So that conversation needs to be had before you even decide to go into cancer treatment, especially if you know that you want to have a family or you want to continue your family. So you should be having that conversation with your doctor ahead of time. Don't wait, because if you wait, then you're going to find out that you're waiting too late. Because once they start giving you that medicine, it's going to start messing with your ovaries and every cell in your body. All right, if you're tuned into Warriors Talk, we are live on Intellectual Radio, and we're talking about breast cancer survivorship misconceptions. And I want to highlight my sponsor, who is Gloria Dotson with Mary Kay, and she's catering to all of your beauty needs from head to toe. I encourage you to go over to marykay.com/GODTSON, and then make sure you tell her that Warriors Talk sent you. Keep in mind that Warriors Talk is always looking for individuals to share their testimonies. You can email me. Just type warriorstalk1@gmail.com and type in all caps ready, and let me know that you're ready to share your breast cancer journey. We are on myth number 8. We're talking about breast cancer misconceptions as it relates to survivorship. Number 8, factor myth: since my menstrual periods have not begun again and I am taking tamoxifen, I cannot get pregnant. I was one of those who did not have to take tamoxifen, and normally individuals take that tamoxifen either 5 years after they have had treatment, and then you're supposed to not have a recurrence. But I've heard so many negative things from individuals who have taken the tamoxifen, who have even stopped taking the tamoxifen because of the amount of side effects that they have had from the tamoxifen. So it says pregnancy after early stage. Give me 1 second. The tamoxifen, even if your periods have not returned or they are irregular, tamoxifen does not protect you from getting pregnant. In fact, tamoxifen was originally developed as a fertility drug. Tamoxifen has the potential to harm the fetus. So while taking the drug, you should be very careful that you do not get pregnant. And sometimes, honestly, sometimes they don't really discuss all of these things with you before they give it to you. Like, they may give you a pamphlet, but giving me a pamphlet and actually telling me, oh, I'm giving you this medicine, and by giving you this medicine, you're not going to be able to get pregnant. And if you do get pregnant, then guess what's going to happen? It's going to harm that fetus. It may terminate that fetus. So you should be told that information. I remember being on some medicine for my heart. I used to have these heart palpitations, and my doctor put me on this medicine, and she said, just when you're taking this medicine, you just got to be careful. When you get ready if you get pregnant, as soon as you get pregnant, we're going to wean you off this medicine. So if the doctor is not giving you all the information that you need before you make a decision on, I want to get on this medicine, or no, do I have another option that I could do something different? So that, if you plan on continuing your family. I remember having blood clots and having to be on blood thinners, and they tell you, don't get pregnant when you're on these blood thinners, right? If you get pregnant, it could cause deformities with your baby. You might want to think about terminating your pregnancy if you know that you were taking this medicine. And so guess what? I ended up getting pregnant taking the blood thinners, and my doctor was trying to calculate like how long were you taking it before you got pregnant, and then they was like trying to measure the baby and look at the baby with the ultrasound to see, were there any deformities with this baby? Do I need to terminate this pregnancy? Like, it was just so stressful going through that. And this is my 11-year-old, so she's a healthy baby. But if I had been nervous and listened to them, I probably would have like, let me get rid of this baby because I don't want to go through this. Like, but they should give you that information up front so that you can make an informed decision about if you want to take that medicine or not, or what you're getting into when you do take that medicine. Number 9, myth or a fact. I should avoid weightlifting activities if I have lymphedema. And lymphedema is swelling in the arm of the leg caused by a lymphatic blockage, a blockage in your lymphatic system. So I have lymphedema in my left arm because for me, it came because they removed lymph nodes out of my arm because the cancer went to my lymph nodes. It was in my right breast, went to my lymph nodes. And so when I had my surgery, what they did was before my surgery, they put that glucose, right? The glucose, which is sugar, and the glucose went right to the cancer cells. So then the doctor marked wherever they saw the cancer, so the surgeon knew where to go to take the cancer out. So when they did it to me, it just highlighted under my arm. It didn't highlight in my breast. The cancer was going out of my breast from the chemo. So it highlighted under my arm like, oh, so he circled that spot where the cancer was. So when I went to surgery, the doctor knew to go under there where that spot was. They took out 16 lymph nodes. They checked all of the lymph nodes. The one that had the cancer in, they checked 16 lymph nodes, which was the ones that was around it to see if it spread to any of the lymph nodes. So it was just in there one lymph node like the size of a pencil lead. So they took that out. And because of that, now I have lymphedema in my arm, and I'm supposed to be wearing like a compression sleeve, and I'm supposed to wear it every day unless I'm sleeping so that it can keep the swelling down. If you fly on an airplane, they tell you wear your compression sleeve to keep the swelling down. So lymphedema is caused from that. So should you avoid lifting weights because, you have lymphedema? It says a 2006 research study found that women who engage in moderate weightlifting activities where you're not likely to suffer lymphedema. I don't know if people think that. For me, the lymphedema, it wasn't like, oh, you did anything to cause the lymphedema. So, you lifting weights is not going to cause you to have lymphedema. The lymphedema came as a result of the surgery that I had. So it says keeping your body strong through regular physical activity, including strength building. It's a great way to help keep your lymphatic system flowing, right? And it'll help keep the swelling down. They mentioned some things that you can do, like in this right arm, I never let them take blood pressure. And on this right arm, I never get a blood drawn from this right arm. When I go to the doctor, I always make sure I have my sleeve on when I go to the doctor so they won't even try to do anything on this arm. I'm thinking about getting a bracelet. So, like if anything happens to me, if I fall out, I'm unconscious, then I don't want them going in that arm. So I would like wear some type of bracelet to where they'll look at it and be like, okay, we know not to draw blood from this arm, because if they do, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to have trouble with this arm. It's going to swell up. It's going to be it's going to heal slowly, and it could give me issues. So I don't want them to ever go in their arm. So if you do have lymphedema, you shouldn't have any issues lifting any type of weights. You have to just do it in moderation. Number 10, a myth or fact. It says breast implants cause breast cancer. Now, we do know, and we have heard some people that have said, oh, I gotten a second breast cancer because of my implants. But they're saying for the most part that the implants does not cause breast cancer. But there is a cancer out there that people that get implants, it happens. So either it's false or it's not, right? So for the most part, they're saying that it does not. But you can get cancer. It's called lymphoma. It's not considered a breast cancer, right? So they're not considering it as being a breast cancer, but it's coming back as a result of the implants, but it's coming back as a lymphoma, not as a second breast cancer because of the implants. I've known many women who have gotten implants and they have had infections and they have gotten so sick that they had to remove the implants because this is a foreign object in your body. So of course, if your body, some bodies may reject it. Some people, many women are okay, but then you have some that they get so sick that they have to get those implants removed. And then you have a small percentage of women who may end up getting that lymphoma cancer because of them having the implants. It's kind of scary. So another myth or fact, it says bone pain in my hips or my knees means that my breast cancer has spread. And they tell you one of the ways to indicate that cancer has spread is you have bone pain. It's like an ache that won't go away. And it says, if you think your cancer has spread, it could be very, very scary, right? And the one thing that you don't want to do is to sit and try to guess or diagnose yourself. You should be calling your doctor and say, hey, I'm having this kind of pain and I've been having this pain it's been 3 weeks now and this pain won't go away. And they'll, of course, give you a series of questions to see what happened. And you go in and they're going to give you a test. Most likely they're going to probably give you, a scan to see if that cancer has indeed spread it, right? They can give you a blood test, but the blood test is not going to give them everything they need. So they're going to most likely do that scan to see if the cancer has indeed spread it to your bones or your brains or your lungs. Like it could be, and when it happens for breast cancer individuals, if it goes to the brain or if it goes to your lungs, most likely they're not considering that lung cancer, they're not considering that brain cancer only because it happened as a result of the breast cancer. So they're just considering that as the breast cancer has spread. So it will be connected to the breast cancer versus it being an isolated cancer or a second cancer. So a myth or a fact, mammograms can cause cancer to spread. That's an interesting one. It says a mammogram or x-ray of the breast currently remains, it's our gold standard for how we detect breast cancer early, right? It's pretty much sort of the only tool that they use that they say that can detect breast cancer early. So it says breast compressions while getting a mammogram cannot cause cancer, nor does it cause it to spread. In fact, tighter compressions during a mammogram can lead to clearer images, and it's easy for the radiologist to read. According to the National Cancer Institute, the benefits of a mammogram, however, nearly outweighs the potential harm, and mammograms require a very small dose of radiation. The risk of the harm from the radiation exposure is very low. That's what they say. All right, so another myth or fact, it says, if you are diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, that means you did something wrong or you didn't do the right treatment the first time. So now that cancer has come back. And believe me, some people think like that and they will express it to you like, oh, well, maybe you should have did this type of treatment or maybe you should have did that. And the cancer, when it came back, like, I know so-and-so who did this and they still cancer free after 20 years. People will have the nerve to tell you something like that to make you seem like you did something wrong. And metastatic breast cancer, for those of you who don't know, is the cancer that has spread to other parts of your body. And that's known as stage 4 cancer, as terminal. So it says when some people hear that stage 4 breast cancer, right, it can be overwhelming. They assume that you have did something wrong along the way, that you missed something, when you were getting treatment. So there's a misconception that breast cancer always develop in the different stages. It'll go from 1, it'll go to 2, it'll go to 3, and then it'll go to 4. And then it says, and that there's plenty of time for you to catch it early. So they're figuring, like, since it's going through all of those stages, you should be able to catch it early. Well, it depends on how aggressive that cancer is. It can go from stage 1, 2, 3, go really quickly. I don't know if you ever heard of people. Oh, I know this one lady at my job, she went to the doctor complaining of headaches. And next thing we know, they was like, oh, she got stage 4 brain cancer. And she, in a couple of, I want to say less than a month, she was out of there. So for cancer, everybody is different on everyone's body. Some people may be diagnosed with an aggressive form of breast cancer. Then you have breast cancers that are not as aggressive and they're not treated aggressive. But if it's aggressive, then there's no telling how fast that cancer is going to spread. So it says people with metastatic breast cancer can face misguided assumptions that they have maybe skipped their mammograms or wasn't doing their self-exams at home, or they didn't control their risk factors, such as they didn't exercise enough, they wasn't eating healthy. People want to give you all these ideas and solutions to what you should do. It says, but a person can do everything right and you can still be diagnosed with metastatic or stage 4 breast cancer. Although regular screenings increases your odds of diagnosing breast cancer early, they don't guarantee it. So it's saying that the mammogram is not guaranteed that it's going to catch it early. All right. And the last myth or fact says the mental and emotional experience of people with metastatic breast cancer is the same mental and emotional status of someone who's diagnosed with early breast cancer. It says people with metastatic breast cancer report hearing comments like, oh, at least you got the good type of cancer, or at least there's so much research being done on cancer. Fortunately, you have so many options, girl. There's so many options out here right now. And some of those may be comforting for someone who's diagnosed with maybe stage 1, stage 0, maybe even stage 2. But when you're diagnosed with the later stages of cancer, that you shouldn't be saying that. It says, but people with metastatic breast cancer don't have the luxury. They know that they will be in treatment for the rest of their lives. And likely their lives will be cut short from the things that they have planned. Whatever they have planned for their lives, they know that the stage 4 already tells them. They give you stage 4, they give you 3 years. And we know people with metastatic breast cancer is living way past those 3 years. But that's what statistics says, 3 years. So they know that they're going to be on treatment for the rest of their lives. Their body is going to be going through this horrific treatment with little breaks in between. So they know anything that they have planned to do, any long-term plans, they know that they may not even see those plans. So yeah, the emotional and the mental aspect of cancer from someone who's diagnosed early and someone who's diagnosed with terminal cancer is totally different. You have a totally different outlook. For early stages, you know that there's an end date to that treatment. Okay, I know I'm going to be doing treatment for a year and then I'm done. Stage 4, you're just in treatment, consistently in treatment. All right, you guys, Warriors Talk is having our 7th annual Survivors Night of Reflection Gala. And I'm so excited. It's taking place on October the 28th, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's going to be at the Crystal Sky Banquet Hall. All survivors are free, and we're going to be celebrating a season to embrace. We're going to have a fashion show. I'm so excited about this event. So survivors, you get to have a delicious brunch. We give out awards, and you get a swag bag. You also get to share some of your journey with individuals, and you get to strut your stuff on the runway. I'm so excited about our sponsors who have been donating money. We have the Drive FI with Roman, who donated 2 tickets to survivors to come for free. And our survivors are attending free because of the donations that we're receiving. We also have a new sponsor, which is Season the Series with Aretha Tatum, who's sponsored. She purchased a sponsorship, and I'm so excited about that. And I want you guys to support the Season series. It is a dramedy musical series that follows a group of midlife men and women who are determined to make their next 50 years their best years. So you can go to Tubi, it's streaming live, and be sure to follow Season the Series on Facebook for more information. It says, you lived your life, now live your dream. I'm excited about my sponsors, you guys. I'm so excited. All right, you guys, coming up next at 7 p.m. on Intellectual Radio. Please don't go anywhere. We have The People Show with Mark Wallace and Charles Thomas. And I will leave you with these words of wisdom. Surround yourself with only people who are going to lift you up higher. There is no time for negative energy during cancer. You need to be around people who inspire, challenge, and make you better. Join me next Monday at 6 p.m. right here on Intellectual Radio. And if you want more conversations with Warriors Talk, tomorrow I'll be live at 7 p.m. with the breast cancer panel from Awareness Towards Action with breast cancer panelists sharing their wisdom on breast cancer. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.